The scale says you've lost 30 pounds. Your clothes fit better. Everyone's noticed. But there's something the scale isn't telling you, and it's the reason some people who stop taking these medications gain everything back. Because here's the thing about weight loss medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro. They work. They really work. But what exactly are you losing? Today we're looking at the research, what the studies actually say about muscle loss on GLP-1 medications, and what you can do about it. Let me paint a picture. Sarah's lost 42 pounds in 8 months. She feels incredible. But when her doctor runs a body composition scan, something doesn't add up. Of those 42 pounds, nearly 17 weren't fat. They were muscle, lean tissue, the metabolically active stuff that helps you burn calories even while sleeping. And Sarah isn't unusual. Research from Texas Tech University suggests that up to 40% of weight lost on GLP-1 medications may be lean muscle mass. That's not a typo. 40%, almost half of what you're losing, might not be what you think you're losing. GLP-1 receptor agonists have become the most significant weight loss breakthrough in decades. Medications like semaglutide and tirzepatide mimic hormones your gut naturally produces. These medications reduce appetite dramatically. People report feeling full faster, thinking about food less, losing those constant cravings that made previous diets impossible. Millions of prescriptions have been written worldwide. The results speak for themselves. Average weight loss of 15 to 20% of body weight in clinical trials. But here's what the marketing materials don't emphasize. When you lose weight quickly, your body doesn't distinguish perfectly between fat and muscle. It burns both. And when you're eating significantly less, which is exactly what these medications cause, you may not be getting enough protein to protect that lean tissue. Think about it. Your body needs protein to maintain muscle. But if your appetite is suppressed and you're eating half of what you used to, where's that protein coming from? According to research covered by Medical News Today, lean body mass can account for 15 to 40% of total weight loss from GLP-1 therapies. That's a huge range. Why such variation? It depends on factors like starting body composition, protein intake, physical activity levels, and the specific medication being used. A March 2026 study published in Science Daily reveals something important. Researchers found that what happens after you stop these medications matters enormously. The finding that shocked researchers? Individuals who exercised while taking weight loss medications experienced greater weight loss and maintained muscle mass after stopping the medication. That's a critical distinction. Not just better results during treatment, but better results after treatment ends. The exercise changed the trajectory. Research from the University of Cambridge found that patients regain weight rapidly after stopping weight loss drugs. And this is key, they still kept off about a quarter of what they'd lost. A quarter might not sound like much, but for someone who lost 60 pounds, keeping 15 pounds off permanently is meaningful. The question is, which 15 pounds? If you've lost muscle along with fat, and then regained primarily fat, your body composition is actually worse than when you started. Lower muscle mass, same or higher fat percentage. This is what researchers call sarcopenic obesity, reduced muscle mass combined with excess fat. It's associated with higher risks of falls, fractures, and metabolic problems. Now, I want to be clear about something. Some researchers argue that GLP-1 muscle loss isn't as dramatic as early studies suggested. The evidence is genuinely mixed. A more recent mouse study covered by Medical News Today found Ozempic-related weight loss resulted in about 10% lean muscle mass decrease, less than some earlier estimates. 10% is still significant, but it's a far cry from 40%. The truth likely depends on the individual. Your results may vary based on what you do alongside the medication. And that brings us to the part of this story that actually gives me hope. Because the research consistently points to one intervention that makes a real difference. Research published in the journal Obesity found that patients who combine GLP-1 medications with regular physical activity achieve significantly better body composition outcomes than medication alone. And here's the part that surprised me. Even 2 sessions per week of light strength training can dramatically change outcomes. We're not talking about becoming a bodybuilder. We're talking about resistance exercises, bodyweight squats, resistance bands, light weights done consistently. The consistency matters more than the intensity. Why does resistance training work? When you challenge your muscles, you signal to your body that they're needed. Your body prioritizes keeping what it uses. Without that signal and without adequate protein, your body sees muscle as expensive tissue to maintain. During calorie restriction, it may burn muscle for energy. The American Diabetes Association is taking this seriously. At their 2026 scientific sessions, they presented the BELIEVE study, exploring combination therapy with semaglutide and bimagrumab. Bimagrumab is a drug that blocks myostatin, a protein that limits muscle growth. The idea is to preserve muscle while semaglutide reduces fat. That's still experimental, but it shows you where the research is heading, toward combination approaches that optimize for body composition, not just the number on the scale. So what does this mean for you if you're considering these medications or already taking them? Here's what the research suggests might help. First, you might want to prioritize some form of resistance training. Even light strength exercises 2 to 3 times per week can provide significant muscle preservation benefits. Second, consider tracking your protein intake. Many experts recommend aiming for 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight daily while losing weight. And try spreading that protein across meals rather than loading it all at dinner. Research suggests this supports muscle protein synthesis throughout the day. Third, if you have access to body composition monitoring, whether through your doctor's office, a gym, or a home device, consider tracking more than just weight. DEXA scans give the most accurate picture, but even simpler methods like waist measurements or how your clothes fit can tell you more than the scale alone. And here's something the 2026 research really emphasized. If you're planning to stop your medication, maintain the exercise habits you built during treatment. The study found this appears critical for sustaining results. Exercise wasn't just helpful during medication, it was protective after stopping. Now, some people end up staying on these medications long-term, and that's a conversation to have with your healthcare provider. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. If you do plan to taper off, many doctors recommend a gradual approach rather than stopping suddenly. But again, that's individualized medical advice that belongs in a conversation with your doctor. I also want to acknowledge something. Not everyone has equal access to the support systems that make exercise easier: gyms, safe walking spaces, time in their schedules. If that's your situation, consider that bodyweight exercises require no equipment and can be done in small spaces. Wall sits, chair squats, resistance band exercises, they all count. The research doesn't show you need a fancy gym. It shows you need to use your muscles regularly. How you do that can be flexible. Let me circle back to something important. The body composition data can sound alarming. 40% muscle loss sounds devastating. But remember, that's the high end of estimates, and it's often from people who weren't exercising or watching their protein intake. Your outcomes aren't predetermined. The most encouraging finding from 2026 research is that exercise changes the equation. It's not just about losing less muscle, it's about what happens when treatment ends. People who exercise during treatment are better positioned to maintain their results. The habit, the muscle mass, the metabolic advantage, they all carry forward. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing. We cover evidence-based health topics like this every week, looking at what the research actually says, not just the headlines. So here's what I want you to take away from today. GLP-1 medications are genuinely effective tools for weight loss. The science supports that. But they're tools, not complete solutions. What you do alongside the medication shapes your outcomes. Exercise appears to be essential, not optional. And if you're working with your doctor on these medications, bring up muscle preservation. Ask about resistance training, protein intake, body composition monitoring. The conversation about these medications is evolving, and the more you know, the better positioned you are to make decisions that work for your body, your life, your goals. This content is for informational purposes only and isn't a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult your doctor before making changes to your health routine. Until next time, take care of yourselves.